Greetings and salutations, everybody. I just want to do a quick video on the constitutionality of child support. Um, One of my subscribers had asked if I could cover the topic because there is some conflicting data out there, and I think a lot of people are misconstrued as what's actually unconstitutional here. So I figured I'd do a real quick bare bones, assessment of that situation. At the end of the day, the short answer is no. Child support is not unconstitutional. However, what people are bringing up is saying that it's unconstitutional, like this here. Sixth Circuit rules Federal Child Support Act unconstitutional. Well, it does, but it doesn't. See, the CSRA is unconstitutional in nature because it's Congress getting involved in something that should be dealt with by the states due to the fact that it is a domestic situation. It's one person in a family owing another person in the family money. That's not something that Congress has the authority to regulate. So that part of the child support recovery is unconstitutional. But child support in and of itself is not unconstitutional. Where it becomes unconstitutional is enforcement. The criminal penalties and turning a civil issue into a criminal one. But it basically, like what they say here, the courts have said, put simply, the court said the CSRA is not about recovery of child support payments avoided by interstate flight. Rather, the act regulates through the criminal law obligations owed by one family member to another, using diversity of residence as a jurisdictional hook. This realization is troubling, for the states possess primary authority for defining and enforcing both the criminal law and the law of domestic relations. So what that basically boils down to is Congress overstepped when they passed this to begin with in 1992. And when it came under review for a decision in United States versus Fossey, it held that Congress exceeded its authority when it used that Commerce Clause powers to enact the federal law to use the commerce of people leaving the state or whatever to avoid child support and things. It's a very, very complex set of rules and laws at both the federal and the state level regarding child support and child care and family stuff. But in the end, no, child support is not unconstitutional in and of itself. Certain measures of the court and how they go about enforcing child support can be. It was very vague. They changed it in when did they change it? I want to say like after 2000, Congress amended it to have more language in it as opposed to the way it was originally written. I think it really, if you are involved in any kind of child support stuff, you really, really have to get a lawyer. With my divorce, I ended up not paying child support for my son, but that's because I fought it like tooth and nail. I said, I will not pay rent for my kid. She wanted full residential custody. She wanted full, basically visitation stuff to where it would be in her schedule is when I would see him, not a scheduled every other weekend. And she wanted to be in charge of all of his medical care, and she wanted to be in charge of all of his educational stuff and all that. And I said, well, if I have no say, then I'm not paying nothing. And I fought it and fought it and fought it and argued with her lawyer. I represented myself in my divorce. I ended up not having to pay child support because I refused. I was like, we can go into trial then, and I'll go after half her 401k because she made more money than me and whatever. I was like, I'll take her for alimony payments and everything else then, and I'll use her alimony payments to pay my child support. It's going to be that simple. And they didn't want to go that route. So, but see, the 92 law, which has since been amended with additional language related to the defendant's intent. So they have to now show that you purposely moved away and didn't pay on purpose, to try to hide from the system. That's basically where that's why the federal law had to be changed. The way that they go about it, though, it's kind of messed up. But it's clear, though, that the states impose the statute imposes liability even if the child who moved out of state rather than the non-custodial parent. So say she takes the child and leaves. It's the same thing. That needs to be accounted for as far as, this federal law goes. I don't think there should be a federal law, to be honest. The Constitution itself doesn't have anything to do with child support on that nature, and to criminalize the fact that a parent isn't basically paying rent for their child is absurd. And I think if you're going to have these types of absurd child support payments, I think it needs to be budgeted out to where the woman has to keep an itemized list of every penny that she's spending on the child. So no more of this, I'm going to pay you child support, but you're going to go out and you're going to get a new car, and you're going to get your hair done, you're going to get your nails done, might get a boob job, might get some lipo, all that stuff. No, like you should have to prove that money is being spent on the child, like their school clothes or a tutor or a computer for learning or whatever. Like that, they should have to prove where that money goes. It shouldn't just be, well, here's your $500 a month per kid, or $1,000 a month per kid, or $2,000 a month per kid, whatever the court ordered. They should have to have some kind of an itemized thing and proof to show where that money is going. Why not? Because I know people right now that are paying child support out the wazoo, and their baby mama is buying all kinds of crazy shit with that money, and it's not going to the kids. So, I think there should be something in the law, either at the state or federal level, then that makes it to where a person can put it back up for review and go, well, think of it like a tax audit for a business. Why not? Save your receipts, people. I think there should be some kind of accountability on the back end. But hey, that's just me. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you made it this far. But there's going to be a lot of Commerce Clause challenges to those federal statutes, because there's a lot of people that are leaving to get a better job or whatever, and then the state is locking them up for leaving, and that's just not, it's not productive for anyone. It's not productive for the child. It's not productive for either parent. It's not productive for the system. Wastes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And it locks people up and criminalizes people for a debt. Debtors' prisons have been outlawed for 100 fucking years in this country. So, come on, people. There's got to be a better way. Especially because they say flat out states prefer to use other methods besides locking people up under the federal stuff. But they do it. It does happen. This poor kid was like a 19-year-old kid and ended up doing 6 months in California federal prison over $28,000 in child support from Michigan. And it was him and the mother, his baby mama, and that they moved to California to find a better life or whatever. Well, they went back to visit in Michigan, and she decided to stay in Michigan with her family. But because of educational and job, things out there in California, he wanted to go back out for his education and other stuff. So he went back out to California. They ended up locking him up. So, and the decision for that has brought a halt to federal prosecutions under the statute in Western Region of Michigan based on, this case. And it's not, he ain't the only one. I mean, this has happened to a lot of people. Poor Timothy, man. Timothy Gordon Fossey, man. You really, and I mean, by the time they threw it out and whatever, he'd already done a 6-month sentence. And then he gets out, and now he's going to have a conviction on his record. Now he's going to have to explain why he was in prison for 6 months to any employers. I guarantee you, the school that he was attending fucking voided his shit. So, it totally ruined this guy's life for what? Trying to make a better life for him and his family? This type of stuff is absurd. And you look at some of these other situations where, people are talking, oh, women are buying more houses than men. Yeah, because they're buying them with the money that they're getting from men in divorces. They're not buying it with their own loot on some real shit. It's the same thing. You take a man that's married. Let's say they have a kid together, okay? Just like this scenario type thing. They're together, whatever. And, he buys a $300,000 house. And then he has $100,000 in savings, and she just decides, fuck it, I'm out. Well, now they've been together long enough that, she gets half. So now he's got to sell the $300,000 house, give her $150,000 out of that. Then he's got to turn around and give her, $50,000 out of the $100,000 in the fucking bank. And then he has to turn around and pay, probably $1,000 a month in child support. So to the tune of $12,000 a year extra. How's he supposed to live to buy another house? Or in a lot of the divorces and stuff, she keeps the house. And then he'll end up having to pay the mortgage on the house and the child support, and then they're going to throw him in jail if he gets behind? That's stupid. If these women want to do it on their own, do it on your own. You don't need no man, but you need his money. And with that, I'm out. Have a good one, everybody. Peace.